Right, welcome back. I've got a bit of a croaky voice because I've got a sore throat at the moment. It's next project time. This is a hero build for me. I've been trying to get this kit for an absolutely long time, but unfortunately the price of it has been very expensive. So about 2 months ago I popped into Ian Adlam model shops in Birmingham to get some supplies. I didn't even know they were closing down, which is an absolute shame because model shops these days are dying a death because of online. So I've managed to get this kit for more than half price, and I'm really well chuffed that I've managed to get it so cheaply. So here's the next build. Going over to my table, because we've no longer got the chest freezer, we've had to buy an upright freezer. You can see that it's the Hasegawa 124 Williams FW14b from the 92 championship winning season. Excuse me. You can see on the price tag it says £44.99. I picked this up for £21, so it's more than half price. So the box art is just pretty much standard. There's a bit of a mock-up of the actual car once it's built. So the box ain't nothing special, to be honest. It says limited edition. I don't know what the limited part about it is. So digging all the bits out, you've got a bag full of sprues which are still sealed. You've got your instruction booklet there, and some tyre decals and some clear parts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause this and get all the sprues out of the bag. Right, getting all the sprues out of the bag, as you can see, there's a lot of sprues. You've got like the side pods there, a few bits and bobs. You've got the top of the engine cowl there. You've got rear front wing parts there, maybe. Various other sundries like the engine brakes, engine venting there. You've got the bottom floor there. You've got like the air scoop that goes in the front. You've got all the suspension bits. You got the rims and the wheels there. You got it looks like, yeah, I think these are solid rubber tyres. You got some clear parts with the Goodyear stickers on. You've got the main kit supplied decal sheet. There's some helmet decals as well for Nigel Mansell and Riccardo Patrese, but there's no sponsored decals for the helmets. So what I've done to combat that is I've bought myself a decal sheet from Model Works in at the model fair, and that's going to decorate the actual race suit and helmet. So I'm just going to pause this again. Right, so there's my decal sheet for the helmet and all the sponsors on the helmet. You've got the race suit decals as well as you've got the on the plans here. This is 120 scale because I couldn't get a 124. And here's my little figure. I went back to Pendle Slot Racing, you know, like the figure that I bought for the Batman Forever bat boat. Cost me £3.99 plus £3 postage, so I'm going to be putting all those decals on this guy. And I'm hopefully the 120 won't make that much of a difference. Also, as this kit doesn't come with a tobacco sponsorship, I've also bought the camels. I got these from China for I think it's £5.99. So you've got the camels there, you've got the one to the two side pods, and then you've got the one for the front section there on the plans. You've got one there, one in the middle and one in the other side. Excuse me. So looking at the booklet, it's fairly straightforward, and then I'm comparing this to Tamiya, to be honest. It's pretty much the same as Tamiya layout. So you've got all your instructions there, and then turning that over. And then you've got like the decal placements for the wheels and the tyres. And you've got your decal placements for Nigel Mansell or Riccardo Patrese. I'm going to be building this to Mansell because Nigel Mansell is one of my all-time racing heroes. And that's pretty much it. So with my long croaky rambling done, it's now time to get cracking on. Right, I've started work on the car. I realised in the plans I've got to paint as I go along. So I've primed a couple of the sprues and then painted them and then started assembly. So I've started stage 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you get these two engine blocks, the side of the engine blocks there. Once you've painted those pieces, you just glue it in to the one side. So you got this piece here, then you got a clear part, which is the rear warning light, maybe for the you know, probably for the Kers now. So you just glue that in and then you put that together. Then you got this A1 which goes on the side. Then you got these suspension arms, very tricky indeed. You got to put the slot in first, and then you've got to manoeuvre these two pins round each side. And you got this suspension, again slot that into place and manoeuvre the pins very, very carefully indeed so you don't snap the arms. So that's them there. Then you've got these, you've got this like belt feeder assembly. So I just pushed that into place. I didn't need to glue it. Then you got these springs which just sit on the top there. But glue this suspension arm in first. You need to feed it underneath that side. Pull it that way a bit, and then feed it underneath that side and get that in the slot. But you'll need to widen that slot before you do all that. So you like I said, manoeuvre it, get that in, then put the springs in, because it mounts from the back of there to there, as you can see. I had to use super glue for that. Getting those two, once I've glued that into place, getting these two points to mount into the actual underneath suspension arm was a bitch. But it's just getting my tweezers and like trying to manoeuvre the one into place. Once I've got the one into place, I then got the other one into place. Then comes step 4 with the pistons, I assume what they are. So you just push that into place as an angled. You have to put it underneath the belt assembly, and then there's a little slot there. That was easy to put in. Then you've got the actual blockheads themselves and these two vent arms. Blockheads were dead easy to put on, but the vent arms, trying to manoeuvre them in there, because the vent arms, the actual vents themselves have to go between these two arms with the C-shaped prongs facing each other. So you get your tweezers, do your test fit first, but luckily these were quite good to fit in, so I pulled it straight back out, put the glue in, and then manoeuvre it very gently into place, because you've got to get round these arms. It doesn't look like much, but it's definitely something. Right, welcome back. I'm testing out my new phone because my son's given me his old one and he's had it about 2-3 years. My other camera, my other phone was a Samsung S4 Mini, and I've had it since 2013. So as you can believe, this phone is 4 years younger than my old one. Anyway, I've done a tiny little bit of work. It doesn't look like much over a couple of hours work, but it is definitely something. Right, going back to the engine, I've put the Renault F1 decals on now. I can't get this bloody camera to focus. There it is. Put those on dead easy, and they're white and they've come through really nice. So I've just got to seal those. Now the next part, the last part of this engine part, is the calipers and the brake discs themselves. Now according to the plans, you get the two hooks and then wrap them around those two mounting tabs on the brake caliper. That was very, very difficult indeed. Then I had this little square notch that goes into the back of there. That was a bitch to get in, but it went in the end. Then you had this like poly rubber sleeve that you push into there, and then you glue the you don't glue that in, and then once you've done that, you glue the brake disc into place. So that's what I've done, and I've painted all those brake discs in anthracite. The actual brake itself is in gunmetal and silver for the mounting section. So that's the engine part done.
Then I went on to the steering wheel. Now the steering wheel is 3 parts. A steering wheel, whatever the hell that is, I don't know if it's like a steering column or something. Then you've got the actual dashboard itself, which glues onto the main dash. And then you do all these colours, as you can see. So I've done that with the yellow, the red, the yellow, gunmetal, yellow, red, and then put the decal on. The only problem is, as you can see, there's the driver figure. He fits into the seat perfect because the seat is in 2 parts. So you glue that part into that part, which I've done, and then I've just placed my figure in there. The only problem being, I can't put the steering column in. So what I've had to do is I'm going to have to glue the dashboard in and then rest the steering wheel his hands, because the steering column is just too far forward and the actual steering wheel was behind his thumbs. So I can't put the steering column in. But to be honest, once it goes underneath there, you're not going to see any of that because it's buried right underneath there. Right, talking about this section, the front monocoque stroke driver area, I've glued the 2 halves together and put that triangular section in, and I've had to fill in the gap because once it dried there was a little bit of a gap, so I've put the filler in. I've just got to sand that down. You can also see that I've done the seam work all the way round on the top, on the front and round the back. And I've also glued these parts on there which house the steering arms, which is that one there. So what I did is I just test fitted all this and then fitted the steering arm into that, because I wanted to glue this on first so I can get it smoothed down and primed and painted before I put those in. Just trying to paint all round all that once the steering arms are in is going to be a right bitch. So basically what I did is I just test fit it all, draw a line as you can see there and underneath, and then just ran my glue round and just line those up, and that's now drying. And that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Right, I'm going to start work on my figure now. The only problem is, in his body itself, the seat belts are moulded in to the chest and round his waist. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut them off, because looking at the placement guide, I don't want to have to cut decals into little bits to fit them round the seat belts. So I'm going to get my Swan Morton knife out now and cut these seat belts off. Right, using my Swan Morton knife, you can see that I've cut the seat belts off now. I've kept the belt buckle because I'm hoping I can use that, because to be honest that's not going to be in the way of any of those decals. It's going to be giving me a nice flat surface to put those decals on. So all I've got to do now is primer this guy. Right, a little bit of progress on the Williams F1 car. I'm masking off the forward monocoque driver's area because I've already sprayed the lower part of the body, as it says in the plans, which is H15. Now H15, it just says bright blue. It doesn't say on the plans. I've written all the colours down here, so I ain't got to keep refolding the plans over. So I've done my research online for the Mansell model, and everybody's that I've come across has used Tamiya TS44 Brilliant Blue. So that's what I've done, and I let it dry, obviously on top of the primer. Now I've masked all this off to have the upper part here to be painted in the TS34 Camel Yellow, again in the Tamiya. And also, I'm now getting ready to spray my figure, because I've already primered him. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can see all the decals. The seatbelt detail has pretty much disappeared. So I've primed him all round. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to spray this guy in the TS44 Tamiya Brilliant Blue. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment.